This is a piece of advice that I live by now, and I wish I had it when I was 18, starting out. And I keep saying it. It's a mantra for me, and I advise everybody to do it. Is if you don't ask, you don't get.
A piece of advice that I think about pretty much every day is just be brave. And I think that early on in my career, I didn't push myself forward for things, or I didn't kind of shout about my achievements because it felt like I was being big-headed, or perhaps I didn't deserve this yet, perhaps I wasn't far enough in my career. And I think something I've learned as I've moved forward is just, it's always your time. This is always an opportunity for you. You don't need to put barriers in your way. Other people are going to do that. Other people will say, you aren't good enough, you aren't ready, this isn't for you, but you should never say it to yourself. And you should just push for anything that you want. I have emailed people and gotten huge jobs because I just cold emailed them. I have reached out to people, I've created my own projects, I've started my own production company. And I think that's my biggest piece of advice, and it's the one I think about every day. Just be brave.
A piece of advice that I would have loved to get very early on in my career was to know what kind of fear I have when I'm approached with a new challenge. And if it's the kind of fear that says, I shouldn't do this because I don't think I could pull it off, that I'd mess it up, to go for it, to throw myself in. I've had so much joy and so many incredible experiences by saying yes to things that scared me and jumping in with both feet.
Do you know what? It's not even a piece of advice I would have loved to receive. I actually did receive it. I should have listened to it. And the advice was to relax in every capacity, just to relax and just be and breathe. Definitely should have breathed more.
What advice would I have loved to receive early on in my career? You can kind of get on and off the treadmill of work at any time. I think there's always this rush to keep working, keep doing things and be busy and on to the next project. But then the moment you kind of step off the treadmill, it keeps going, and then you can step back on at any time. So don't kind of put aside your life or things that are happening for work. Just focus on everything in life, and then it will just affect your work positively.
A bit of advice that I wish I had received is to not approach every role in the exact same way. I gave 150% to every single role I ever did, no matter what the size of the part was, no matter what the reward or sense of satisfaction that I would get out of it. So if I had a one-word part, which I had many of in my career, I would dive headlong into character prep and all this stuff, and it eats away at your soul a little bit because you're not able to thrive and fly the way you normally would. So I wish somebody would have told me that it's okay to just walk on, say the line and walk off if that's all you're doing. Conserve your energy, put your focus elsewhere, be professional, work on your craft as a professional actor, but actually don't give a piece of yourself for everything because you only have a finite amount. So save the good stuff for roles where people actually take you seriously.
A piece of advice that I would have loved earlier on in my career is that you deserve to be here. You're allowed to be here. You're allowed to be in the rooms that you're in. You're allowed to occupy space. I think it's really big because sometimes you feel like you have to wait for permission before you can sort of enter spaces. And also, another bit of advice, which is from Stormzy. I'm going to quote Stormzy. And it's the line, "If you don't rate me, shame on you." And I'll break that down for you. Basically means you don't have to use so much energy trying to convince so many people that you're really, really good. Just believe in your work enough, and the people who get you, the people who like you and think that you're great, excellent. And if there are people that don't, because there's, art is so subjective. For 10 million people who think that Meryl Streep is amazing, there's going to be one completely wrong person who's meh. And I just think that you just concentrate on doing the work that gives you joy, and the people who enjoy your work, they can stay, and everyone else can go and find somebody equally brilliant to enjoy.
A piece of advice that I would have loved to have heard when I was a kid and that I wanted to become an actor was for someone to say that if you are desperate to become an actor, you will find a way to make it work. It's going to be really hard work, and there are no shortcuts. I've had the incredible honour of working with amazing talent in this industry, and no two people's journey to where they are is the same. And I think understanding that, especially at a young age, is important. I grew up in a county where there was no other actor who was working professionally or had ever worked professionally as an actor. So therefore I didn't have like a template to work off of. I didn't have like someone that I could say, oh, that's what I want to do. You know, it felt like such a huge dream. And so I think it's important to stay grounded, remind yourself where you came from, how you got there, because you don't know who that's going to help along the way and how important that is for someone else to see that journey.
What would I have liked to have been told earlier on in my career? I mean, it's so obvious, but be patient. Not everything happens at once, and that's my biggest flaw. I'm so impatient. You think that everything's going to be just so easy, and it's not. It's ebbs and flows, and your career's constantly going to be like that, no matter what, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that, and yeah, don't try and be everything all at once.
I think there's probably a lot of advice that I would have loved to have received early on in my career. As a writer-director, you've almost got two careers, and for me, those two careers have developed at different speeds. I always felt really, really confident and more fluid as a director, whereas as a writer, to sit down and face that blank page and be sort of stuck on your own with your thoughts was a lot more daunting. And I think I thought that it was something that was just meant to come naturally to me. And as I've progressed through my career as a writer, I've learned that there are techniques, you know, and that writing is a craft and it's something you learn, and it's not something that you should just know instinctively. And I kind of wish I'd known that earlier,